first question, other than meditation, how can one achieve true happiness in the world which is full of sufferings? First of all, we have to define what is true happiness. Well, why don't we use a different approach? I want some interaction. What do you think? Just talk about it. It's easy for me to give. It seems easy. I give you, this is what happiness is all about. So what do you think is true happiness? I can use this time to drink my tea. Yeah.
One's point of view.
Huh?
Your point of view in this life.
So happiness is your point of view, right?
If you have a good point of view, it's positive, and whatever that will bring positive result, negative will bring negative.
So in other words, you say that if you have positive point of view, then you have happiness, right? And then we have to think about when you say you have a positive viewpoint and you bring happiness. To you it could be positive, to somebody else it could be negative, right? It's still a personal. You think it's a personal. Well, we're talking about true happiness which would apply to everybody, not because to someone who is really, really sick for many, many years, recovery would be happiness from his positive point of view. But if you say happiness is from a personal point of view, then it becomes very controversial. And I'm talking about general true happiness. So what is general true happiness?
I'm not sure if this applies to every situation in life, but accepting things the way they are and not wanting them to change.
Accepting things the way they are and what?
And not wanting things to change.
So some people are born into poor families, and there's nothing they can do at that moment to change their condition. So how do you go about finding happiness in those moments is to accept things for the way that they are without wanting them to be any different. It's not necessarily saying that change is bad and you don't want things to change, you just want things to be the way they are. But it's really changing the attitude that you look at things. Because a lot of things in life, you can't change at that moment because it's a result of the past karma that you've sowed. But what you can change is how you look at it, and that makes all the difference. So someone can live in conditions where normal people, without the right attitude would think is very negative, is very wretched, is very poor. But someone with the right mentality, with the right attitude, can look at it differently. And to them, it's not suffering. To them, it's happiness. So it's really all about the attitude rather than the circumstances that you face. It's not really the circumstances that determines the quality of your happiness, but really the mentality, the outlook you have in life that determines the quality of happiness in your life. I mean, if you've read the book A Man's Search of Meaning, you'll know that during World War II, when these prisoners of war were placed in concentration camps, most of them couldn't withstand those wretched conditions. And so their bodies did not give up on the floor, their minds did. But some people, even though they had to experience those terrible conditions during those concentration camps, they were able to get through it and see positive qualities of it, the camaraderie that the people had for each other, the help and support that the prisoners showed for each other. They focused on the positive qualities, and that's what got them through it. And so really, I think the first step in finding happiness is changing the attitude that you have towards the things that you experience in life. Because you can't necessarily change what happens in your life at that moment, because it's just a result of the karma that you've done in the past. But what you can change is how you look at it. And one of the most helpful ways to start developing that ability is to meditate, because meditate builds your awareness and mindfulness of the present moment. It prevents you from getting caught up in your thoughts, because a lot of times it's your thinking that leads you into trouble. It's your thinking that leads you into suffering. So the first step is to build that awareness, build that present moment mindfulness, so that you can see things for the way that they are and accept things for the way that they are at the moment. Obviously, you want to work hard to change your conditions, to create the conditions for happiness. But the first step comes from accepting things for the way they are, and then you go about positively, making transformations to make the life better.
You can't change the past. You've performed all this karma in your past, which includes what you have done in previous lives. How could you change what you have done, what you had done in your previous lifetime? How could you change yesterday? You cannot change yesterday. You cannot change the day before yesterday. So that's the karma that you have to face up to. So that part is unchangeable. That part is to accepting the change without agonizing yourself. Some people agonize themselves by saying, how come I got an abusive childhood? How come my father is an alcoholic? And I hate my dad. I hate my mom. I hate my dad. I hate my brothers. Those already happened. You can change it. But just like in meditation, we're creating self-awareness. You be aware of what you're doing now. What you're doing now is what you will get in the future. As a matter of fact, what you are habitually doing now really affects the future. I remember Aristotle said something that I really appreciate, and what he said is, who you are depends on what you habitually do. As a habit, you habitually do, and excellence is then not an act, it's a habit. So you're always training your meditation, you're creating this self-awareness, you are aware of what you're doing, and you add it on with the righteousness, with what you should do and what you shouldn't do, then you're creating a lot of good karma. You're training your awareness. So what you're saying is, yeah, true happiness is forget about the past, don't hang on to it, don't attach to it, build up your future. Be aware of what you're doing now, because what you're doing now affects the future. And that's personal opinion about, say, for example, Alan points out that in the first one, it's your view. If you have a positive view, yeah, that's a general comment. If you look at things in a positive way, in a righteous way, of course it makes you happy. You won't do it in a negative way. That's another way of looking at happiness too. But generally, I say, if I really have to give a general remark on what happiness is, I would say happiness is peace of mind. If I really have to define it. It does not matter how much money you have. It does not matter whether you are multimillionaires or you are the most handsome guy, you're the most beautiful lady. If you don't have peace of mind, you don't have happiness. If you're a Warren Buffett, I always say buffet, Warren Buffett. You own billions and billions of dollars, but you're always uneasy. You're always afraid that your stock is going to go down. You're always afraid that maybe one day you lose out everything. So you always want to safeguard your property. I'm not saying he is, but if you don't have that peace of mind, you're not happy. It does not matter how much money you have, what health you are in. You could be in good health, you could be a millionaire, and you're still unhappy because you don't have peace of mind. So peace of mind, yeah.
Did you know that Warren Buffett has pledged most of his wealth to charity?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. And Bill Gates too. Yeah. So that's good. So, what I'm bringing it out is, I'm not saying he is not happy. No, but he's bringing it out that I remember there was interviewed by a reporter and he said, it's not money, it's the peace of mind that make me happy. So happiness is peace of mind. And how do you get that peace of mind though? That's another thing. The peace of mind is happiness. So what he says here, let's get back to the question. Other than meditation, how can one achieve true happiness in a world which is full of suffering? So you are saying the world is full of sufferings, and which we agree. I agree. I don't know anybody who don't agree that the world factually has suffering. Everybody agree that world have suffering, right? So it's a world full of suffering, yes. And then how do you achieve true happiness? There's so many ways to achieve it. If we can summarize it, a positive view in life, and then forget about the past, don't hang on to the past, don't attach to the past, be very positive in what you're doing, and you know what is right and what is wrong, of course. You're so positive, but you're positively wrong. You could be positively wrong. You could be quite positive, but you are killing, you're lying, you're committing sexual misconduct. You still can be positive in life. So you have to know what is right and what is wrong. Don't build up bad karma. So we can actually add up everything together and become true happiness. It's a peace of mind. You don't just say, I want peace of mind. Everybody knows happiness is peace of mind. But how do I build up that peace of mind? How do I habitually build up that peace of mind? You get into meditation. That's the power, the magic, the strength in meditation. Because Aristotle said you are what you habitually do. Habitually, you are building up this meditation power in you, and it becomes an excellence because you habitually do it. Excellence is not an act, it's a habit. So you habitually build up this present moment awareness. You habitually build up this letting go, let whatever comes in go. Some people yell at you, scold you, slander you, and then you don't attach to it, you just let it go. Or anything that affects your senses, you just let it go, you don't attach to it. So you're building up that letting go attitude, you're building up that concentration attitude, you're building up that present value awareness, added on with all the understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Now you could have a meditative strength, but you don't know what is right and what is wrong. You could have meditating strength because your concentration is so good, but you're still committing a lot of, for example, relationships. You love relationships. But mind you, people who love relationships can never get into a trance of meditation because they're so carried away. And you still love to steal, you still love to do things that produce a lot of karma. So how can you have present world? How can you be happy? So meditation, actually, if you ask me, other than meditation, strictly speaking, what is meditation? It's the mind. Other than any method that you found, it must be related to the mind. Because true happiness is from the mind, not from material. So true happiness, however you define it, however you want to find it, it relates to the mind. If I look at it from that perspective, you say other than meditation, nothing other than meditation. You must get into meditation to be true happy. Because meditation is about the mind. Meditation is training your mind to look at things, training your mind for the feelings. It's the only method. No other method. Because that method, why would I with the tone of being dictating what I'm saying, why would I say meditation is the only way? Meditation is about mentality. How can you get away from mentality, the mind, and be happy? So you must meditate. You've chosen the right way. Do it every day. Do it habitually. Do it at such a point that, I realize the power and the strength of the meditation. And the power and strength comes when there's wisdom coming up. You see, when you are thoughtless, when no wandering thought comes up, what comes up? Wisdom comes up. Some people worry. If I don't have a single thought coming up, where am I? What am I going to do? No thought. No thought. When there's no thought, wisdom comes up. Wisdom comes up when there's no thought. So, meditation. You've done it right. You're already walking on it. Don't find another way. You already got it, yes.
For those who are meditating daily,
Yeah.
would you recommend, are there any books, anything, any readings, anything to just help people to incorporate the practices and elevate their practices as they continue?
I think you already know the meditation method because we already have mentioned it. And if you really want reinforcement, we're talking about reinforcement now. Because you already know the method, that's the method that the Buddha used, the breath, anapanasati. That's what Buddha used. But if you say, I want to have more opinion about this, more...
Technique also. Just technique with achieving some of the states, getting to them, maintaining.
I would say that the techniques that I told you, it's a conglomeration of many opinions about using it. For example, the techniques, there's no shortcut. There's no shortcut to it. If you really want some books to reinforce in what I'm saying so that you feel confident, because just one person saying it, you may not have the confidence to say, how do I know that you're right? But why don't you read, maybe you read A.J. Brahm's book, B-R-A-H-M, and just quite a few books that are really reinforcing what the Buddha's been practicing. But I think you already got it. Why do you have to? You don't really need to read more. Just do. Huh?
It's more meditating.
Yeah, meditate more. Just meditate more and meditate more. And if you come up to a stage where you have piti, P-I-T-I, piti. That's a Sanskrit word. P-I-T-I, pronounces piti. That is rapture of joy. Have you got a rapture of joy?
I have experienced it. Not
Yep.
always, but I have.
You always, yeah. If the rapture of joy, prolong it. Prolong it. If you then have that rapture of joy is actually happiness. That joy would come when you meditate, for example, for 2 hours. And when you meditate 2 hours and you are in quietude, and every thought is on that object of attention, in and out breath, without losing it, then the joy would come. Otherwise, it would be just like a self-feeling of joy or a subconscious structuring of a joy concept in your mind, because, I feel quiet, and I'm happy, so I feel quiet. I don't want anything else. I feel quiet. You have to differentiate it. When you meditate for a couple of hours, and it's just like a flash of lightning time, like a 1 minute, or you feel as if your body is as big as the universe. Your body seems to be the word universe. Your body is the universe, and there's no time anymore. When your body is in the universe, it's so big. It's so big that space is not an obstruction. You see, before you have that joy, there is no space and time obstruction. Only when you feel that, then afterwards you have that joy. When I say there's no space obstruction, is the first feeling is your body or yourself or you are as huge as the universe. You occupy all the space in the universe. Have you got that feeling? Then you have to. That feeling would come if you really concentrate in your meditation. That's the space, no obstruction of space feeling. And then there is a no time feeling. What is no time feeling? You meditate for 2 hours and it seems like 1 minute or 1 second. There's no obstruction of the ticking of a clock. In other words, it's not time anymore. There's no time concept anymore. No obstruction of time. When you have no obstruction of time and space, then what happened? Joy would come. Otherwise, it's a self-defined joy. It's a subconsciously created joy. It may be, I don't know. You yourself know. Yeah.
And the loss of those discriminations.
Say that again.
Loss of the discriminations, right? We're not discriminating anymore. We're just.
You lost your discrimination. You won't say, I hate this, I love this. this poor, this is rich. When you say you lost discrimination, it could be a self-induced subconscious feeling. Now, I believe in Buddhism now, and I'm meditating now. I don't have hatred anymore. I don't have love anymore. I don't have enemies anymore. All the enemies that hurt me, I forgive them. But that's just a feeling of you understood the Buddhist teaching and you let go of those. It's not an intuitive feeling. You see, meditation sometimes don't rely on books. Sometimes books cannot tell you. You know it yourself. Even if you find more books, I've been finding books for 40, 45, 50 years, and I don't want to find books anymore. You see, I have thousands of books, thousands of them. I read thousands of books, including those that are not Buddhist books about meditation. And I finally said, I don't need to find them anymore. I need to concentrate. I need to do it. I don't need to read any language anymore, any words anymore. I need to walk. I don't need to look at any map anymore. I got all the maps. And I got confused. I have too many maps. I've got all the maps. I've got to use that map and walk and find out my path. Walk the trail. So you don't need, probably you don't need to do it. But when you have that pity, that rapture of joy, sometimes you may feel, if you feel it that way, if you feel that all of a sudden you feel that your hair stand on ends, all the hair of the body stand on ends, and this is not in horror, in terror. Stand on ends, so you feel so, what do you call it, wriggling, it's so, the feeling is good. You feel as if all the energy pour out from the pore of each hair, shooting out energy. And you may feel that you are in a glow of light. You feel as if you're in a glow of light, but actually when you open your eyes, I didn't have that glow of light, but when I'm meditating, the glow is starting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's another feeling. Another feeling is after you meditate for a while, your whole body has gone through a sauna bath. That's actually an initial feeling. You've gone through a sauna bath and you're so wet from head to heel but after this, it seems to be you've taken a sauna bath that reduces all your fat. That makes you so light. You makes your feeling. Imagine you go to a sauna bath and then you take a sauna bath, you walk out, you feel very good. But that's only maybe 1% of that of this meditative feeling. So there's a wet feeling. Sometimes you may feel that you're like a feather in the sky. You're drifting. You're drifting as if you don't have any weight anymore, no burden anymore. You absolutely have no burden, and you drift by, and you don't drift according to the wind, you drift on your will. You can drift here, you can drift there. You're not being blown by the wind, but you're like a feather. All of a sudden, all those weight on your shoulders, on your body disappear. No weight on you anymore. You're like a feather going anywhere you want. That's another feeling. There's so many feelings before the rapture of joy. If you have that rapture of joy, then you go further and further. You still keep that in and out breath. That is enough for you to become the Buddha. Why do you have to look for more? Did I not mention a poem to you about a nun in the Tang Dynasty? And she always complained about, I've been in this little temple with my teacher for so long, and it seemed that I didn't get anywhere. I've been meditating for 20 years under my teacher, my guru, and I didn't get anywhere. I want to go out to find out there's other methods, there are other teachers, so I want to go out. So he said goodbye, he bid farewell to her teacher, and the teacher said, okay, if that's the way you want, okay, feel free to go where you want. So she put a knapsack on and put her sandals and put a few pair of sandals at the back, and he started to walk to every temple, to meditation centers, and learn from different teachers and different gurus. And after about 15 years, one day she came to realization. And she said, I wanted to go home. I wanted to go home now. I've been away from my teacher for 15 years. So she was walking back home with a knapsack, the old knapsack, and walking back, crossing mountains and thresholds, and cross every streams and all these mountains and all that, and they came up to quite close to village, just her own village. And then she passed through a grove of cherry blossom trees before arriving at her own old traditional home temple. And she smelled the fragrance of this cherry blossom. All of a sudden, she came to a realization. And she uttered a poem out. The poem, if I translate it, is something like this. I've been looking for spring, and I couldn't find it. Spring meaning enlightenment. I've been looking for years for spring, and I couldn't find it. I have already worn out a few pairs of my sandals. In other words, she had been traveling, to worn out all these sandals. Now I'm returning back to my own family temple, and I went underneath a grove. Do you call it a grove of bamboo tree of cherry blossom? I sniffed in the air of the cherry blossom. Spring is right here. I didn't need to go anywhere. That's what she said. Okay? Okay, that's the question. So it's good for discussion. Next question. Venerable, have you ever had anger inside you? How do you express it? It depends on what you mean by anger. I haven't had any anger so angry that I couldn't control it. So I don't think I have any anger. I don't have any anger. How do you express it? I don't want to express my anger. And any anger, it has to subside inside my mind. I don't want to express it so that it will hurt somebody, and then somebody will stop my anger, or I'll stop my anger. I never have. I never use anger to hurt anybody. I don't think I have any anger that I think of. Even if I feel dissatisfied, I feel disappointed in something, then I will come to a realization. And sometimes I would use this disappointment as a tool to educate people. Say if some people really disappoint me, I would say, you are disappointing me because this is what you do. To that person, I could be relatively angry because I'm saying you disappoint me, but actually in my mind I don't have any anger. I just use this as a means to tell you that I'm disappointed in your mistakes, in what you've done. So I don't think I have any anger. How do you express it? I don't express it. Don't express your anger that you hurt people. Anger can dissipate inside your mind. That's why you're meditating. Let go. Why don't you let go of your anger? Yes?
It means that you suppress it.
No, I don't suppress it. I let it go. Suppressing is different from letting it go. I just let it float out. I don't need to kill it. I just let it dissipate. I let it disappear. Because say, if the anger is because it's from somebody's criticism, oh, you're bad, you're doing this, you're doing that. The criticism itself is not poisonous. The criticism itself is just words, right? Why would I let those sentences stay in my mind and infuriate me? Am I not foolish? If I foolishly let those statements stay in my mind and grasp onto it and cling onto it, am I not foolish? It's just words, right? He scolded me, he slandered me, and so much that everybody thought that I'm stupid, I'm no good, but then, so what? So let's just let it float out. You let go. That's the reason why we say in a meditation, the first stage of meditation, the first procedure of meditation is letting it go out. Letting it go. Why do you have to express your anger? Now what happens if somebody really physically hit you? Or somebody cheated you on a contract? So you have, say, for example, you have $1 million. Now you enter into a contract with this fellow, and you enter into business adventure with that fellow, and after 10 years of struggling, he cheated you out and he drove you away and he pushed you out. Isn't that anger? Would you be angry? So you put in $1 million and he put in $100,000, and you try your best to work at that project, at that business, and somehow he cheated you. And after 2 years, he said, look, you have to go out. I already have changed all the contract secretly. And there's no way that you can get legal advice because I've done this, I've done that, and it is the time to go. Would you be angry? Of course you'll be angry. Because this is a con artist. He cheated you. So you walk out of the factory, walk out of the company with nothing. And what do? You commit murdering, or then that would make the things even worse. So what you would do is you have to consider all these consequences. Maybe in previous life I cheated him $1 million. Or maybe there are a lot of things that I haven't done it right. So maybe it's already, my $1 million is already gone, so I'm not going to revenge on it. I just let go of it. But if you think that, well, he signed on this contract, he changed on this contract, it may not good for him to cheat anybody anymore, then you can bring it to law. But you still don't have that hatred. You bring it to law because you don't want him to cheat anybody anymore. And you want the legal system to get that straight. If the legal system can get it out for you, so fine. If the legal system couldn't get it out and he still wins because of your ignorance, then you say, okay, I owe you in my previous life, so I'm going to return it back to you. It shouldn't really poison your mind. You just let it go. You just let it go. So that's how you do with your anger. You just let it dissipate, let it go. Don't suppress it, don't kill it, don't express it. Last question. Venerable, in one of the videos you said you don't cook but you have the best recipe for Lo Hon Zai. Can we have your recipe, please? Well, the recipe is so simple. You go to the kitchen, then they have all the ingredients, but it's not the recipe. It's the way you cook it. You really need to know. Other than the recipe that helped you, you really need to know what kind of sauce you put in. Well, you learn it from Ho. There's a Mr. Ho who is the chef in there. He's cooking, and you ask. Maybe he's always doing that. Maybe he's doing it today. So if somebody order Lo Hon Zai, you just stand by his side and look at how he did it, how he's doing it. It's easy. You go to the kitchen, but you got to get permission because not everybody is allowed to walk in the kitchen without permission. So if you really want, I can talk to him, and if he's doing Lo Hon Zai, then Lo Hon Zai is a mixture of all the vegetables. So then you can stand aside and see how he's doing it. Okay? There's a kitchen, Lo Hon Zai, the Arahat recipe. Any more question? No more question, we finished for the day. All right, okay.